Hey guys, it's Sarah, and Oz is asleep. I don't know if you can see him or not, but I decided to come in and do the WLS topic of the week. Although I can't imagine that if you're watching this on my channel, you don't know the answer. But possibly if Liz uploads this on her channel, or whatever it is that she puts these on, then it might be interesting to you. So the weight loss surgery topic of the week is getting to know you, the when, who, what, when, why, where, something. I don't know. And I haven't watched anybody else's videos, so I'm honestly just recording this. Look at my boobs. They're huge. Oh my goodness. Pregnancy boobs. So, I'm just going to jump right into everything. And if you guys know me or have followed me for a long time, this may be boring to you. Probably won't be anything new that you don't already know. So, my name is Sarah Robinson, and I had weight loss surgery on April the 26th, 2012. At that time, I weighed in at 357 pounds. That is not my highest recorded weight. That's just the weight that I go by. I think my highest recorded weight is somewhere like 365, between 365 and 370. I would venture to say that is not my highest weight. That's just happened to be what it was recorded at. I definitely, looking through pictures and back through the years, teetered on this border of getting really close to 400. Initially, after weight loss surgery, I had VSG with Dr. Brandon Williams at Vanderbilt Medical Center in Nashville, Tennessee, which is about 3 hours from my home. But I live in a very small, rural West Tennessee area, and no one locally does that. So that was an adventure in itself, just traveling back and forth for all the pre-op stuff and all the post-op stuff and after surgery and all that good stuff. Initially, after surgery, I lost around 180 pounds. The smallest number I ever saw was about 176. I got my whole purpose for having VSG at the time I was married. We had gotten married in 2008. My husband only knew me as plus size, and he loved me regardless. I don't have any horror stories of being extremely morbidly obese. There are things that I remember being worse than others. There were times that were not okay. There were things that I was not an unconfident person. I always had lots of confidence. I always did pretty much what I wanted to do. I am not. There are those horror stories I have of going to a theme park and not being able to ride a ride. To be honest, I didn't want to ride those rides anyways, and I was only doing it because my friends were doing it. So I don't have a bunch of those kind of stories. I was always I went to a very small school, which I'm sure had a lot to do with it. I was always a pretty popular kid. I was always a very nice kid, and I don't remember getting made fun of a lot. When I got, or really ever, I'm sure that at some point I did. I think my dad tells some story about some high school kid making fun of me on the school bus. I don't remember that story, and I'm sure it happened. But I don't know. I just don't have horror stories from my childhood. My husband and I tried for 5 years. We couldn't get pregnant. And so my OBGYN, the nurse practitioner there, she finally suggested weight loss surgery. I had looked into it years before I met my husband, but at that time I was looking at lap band, and I just decided it was something I really wasn't that interested in. I would always gain and lose weight pretty easily, but obviously the older you get, the harder that gets, and the weight had just kind of started not being able to go anywhere. I was always very active. I really didn't let my weight hold me back very much. But I will say, the older I got, the less active I was. My best friend tells stories of, she knew that it started being an issue when I started saying things like, no, I don't really want to go for that walk. She's like, when you always just went for the walk. She was like, you just picked up and went. But I don't think anybody would ever describe me as your typical, I don't think obese people, by the way, overweight people are lazy or, I don't think any of those things. But I hear so many people talk about pre-surgery and the way they were, and I am not that typical characteristic. Felt really horrible about myself, hated my life, very unconfident. I wasn't any of those things, and I don't have an awful lot of horror stories to share. Ultimately, not being able to get pregnant led me to the moment of having surgery, and we wanted a family, and so she finally suggested that. She suggested sending me to a specialist for pregnancy, and I knew then that they were not going to see me at my 360-pound weight and help me. And at that point, I had been on quite a bit of fertility drugs, and so, you know, that makes you gain weight too. And so I was probably even heavier. But she finally suggested it. I said okay, and basically the ball got rolling from there, and I had that surgery on April the 26th. On January 4th of 2014, we found out we were pregnant with our first son, Oz, and he arrived on September the 16th, 2014. During that pregnancy, I gained around 40 pounds. Initially, after having him, I lost some of that weight, but have struggled. If you follow me at all, you know I've struggled the last several years to get that off. I started eating a more ketogenic lifestyle in August of last year, so 2016, and then in March of this past year, we became pregnant. So with our second child, baby girl, no name. So VSG has led me right where I want to be, and I wish that I think initially with keto, I lost about 15 pounds. I was never able to completely maintain that. My body shape did change, and I felt really good about eating keto. The first couple weeks of pregnancy, well, the first trimester of pregnancy, I was not able to stay on that, and I have not been able to buckle myself back down to keto since then. I haven't gained a lot of weight this second pregnancy so far, but my body is just so much bigger. And first of all, I know my uterus knows what it's doing, but second of all, I've introduced carbs. And even on days when I have lower carb days, I'm still eating the carbs in fruits and some higher carb vegetables that I know attribute to my body my body just can't handle the carbs. And so I'm just bigger. And I have been more unconfident in my body recently than I can ever remember being, even at my highest weight. Of course, I know hormones and things play into all that. But anyways, I'm really not this boring, but I am blabbing on in a very monotone. That's funny. I guess I was asleep, so I was just trying to keep it low-key. Anyways, so VSG got me to where I wanted to be. I'm a mom, and so ultimately that was my goal, and I reached that goal in September of 2014, and here we are, pregnant, and I'm supposed to be a mom in December of a second mom again. I mean, I consider myself a mom already of two, but I'm supposed to have another baby in December. Our due date's December the 29th of this year. So had we not gotten pregnant by the end of this year, we were going to quit trying. I am 37. I'll be 38 in November. And I did not want to be any older and pregnant. So that's where we are. I do have, if you guys, again, follow me for very long, you know this. I don't have any complaints about the surgery. It was a very positive experience. I would totally do it again. But I have quite a bit of regurgitation and reflux. I have GERD now. I have a hiatal hernia. Those things I wish weren't there. If I had to do the surgery over again, I would most likely go with a gastric bypass. Although my head being where it was at the time, I don't know. If I knew what I knew now, I would absolutely do it. My head being where it was at the time, I don't know that I could do it. But you never know. So, but I don't have any regrets other than that, and that's not really even a regret. My coming goals are to have this baby in December and hopefully fully breastfeed this child. That's kind of where my issue come in with Oz, was that he would not latch on, and I was an exclusive pumper for 10 months, and I was insane with my eating. I only ate things that would produce lots of amounts of milk. That's all I talked about, that's all I thought about, that's all I breathed about. I mean, that's all I put in my mouth, my body, my mind. I was reading books, reading Pinterest, all about breastfeeding, or exclusively pumping, in other words. That was my goal, and I was able to do that for 10 months and successfully. After that, it just became harder, and he was bigger, and I was traveling and doing things, and it just got to be a hassle. So we finally had to quit. I also quit producing as much. So my goals for the future are breastfeed this new baby. We're keeping our fingers crossed and praying hard that she just latches on like a champ. And then I am going to get this weight off. My new goal would be to live in 190 to 180 land. I was really happy there. My husband thinks I was too small, but I would really like to be under 200. If you asked me 3 years ago, I would have told you I would have never been over 200 again, but I am. But I'm still, 110, 15, 20 pounds down, depending on the day. And I feel like I'm a success. So that's it, guys. My current eating plan is honest to goodness survival. I eat as low carb as I can tolerate, and my schedule allows, being a stay-at-home mom of a crazy 3-year-old. But this week has been really good. My food choices have been pretty good. I've been able to do pretty good. So that's it. We will see you tomorrow. Bye.